So first let's bring our date and time that we wrote in our previous movie. So I'm gonna copy all of this from here and I will paste it on line 8, and we don't need this commented line, so removing this one. Also this echo statement of date and time, and we need semicolon at the admin variable here. Now let's write this insert query. So in the else block, we will have one variable with the name of SQL that will have one SQL statement. So we will insert our data into our table of category, all in the lower form. And then we have to specify the column names. So let me show you the column that we got here in this table. The first one will be the ID. We don't have to put anything in the ID column because it's auto incremented. The second one is title, then author, and then date and time. All of them are in the lower form, and this table name is also in the lower form. So passing my column, so the first column was title, the second one was author, the third one was date, time. Now these column names should match with these ones that you got here, because otherwise your data won't going to enter in the table of category. I was getting this question a lot of time in the previous CMS course that my data is not entering in the category table. That's the reason. When you write wrong table name in your script got confused and it will not put your data in the desired table. So be careful about that. So after putting this table name here, so I will concatenate it with this SQL variable. I will divide it another line. So dot is equal to for concatenation. I just want to make this look nicer. So here I will pass the values to each column, and I will be using PDO named parameter to pass the values so that our data would be SQL injection free. So in PDO, when you have to pass the values, we don't pass these values directly. Instead, we pass some dummy names here. So the first dummy name, first I have to add the colon here, and then I have to write the dummy name. So the first dummy name that I'm gonna write here will be category name, and then the second one would be admin name. Let's make these n, the second one capitalize, and then the third dummy name would be date, time. So now we specified these dummy names here, and one more thing, the order of these values does matter when you are about to enter data. So as you can see, the first one is title. So this first value should be the one which is against the title. The second one is author. So the second values in the values definition should be one which you are going to give to this author. And the third one will be for date and time. So order of these ones should match with the columns in which you are about to enter data. So on the next line, now we wrote this SQL. Now on the next line, first of all, we will write one variable with the name of stmt, and this variable will need our database connection. So as you can see right on the top, I included this db.php file, and if I can show you real quick, inside this db.php file we have this variable connecting db. So we need to grab this connecting db, as we already included this db.php file, so which means we can access any function or variable of that db.php file here in categories.php file. So this stmt will take that connecting db variable from this db.php file as an object, and it will call the PDO method of prepare to prepare our SQL. So whenever you see this arrow notation dash and then angle bracket, it means that we are using PDO object notation. So here this connecting DB is treated as an object. So after writing this connecting DB and calling this prepare method, we have to pass our SQL inside this prepare method and semicolon here. So now we grabbed our connection of database and we prepared our SQL. Now it's time to bind these values to actual values which we got in our script. And the actual values we have here is this category, admin, and this date and time. So now we have to bind those values with these dummy ones. So right on the next line for binding values, now this variable of stmt will be treated as an object. So stmt, and now for object notation we need dash and angular bracket. So this arrow, and we have to call the bind value method of PDO, in which we will define this dummy category name. So in the first parameter of this bind value function, we have to pass the dummy variable inside single quote. So it will be category name, this one. And in the second parameter, we have to specify the actual category that we got, and that is this category that we are grabbing from our input field by using super global of post. So we have to put it here, semicolon at the end. Now similarly we have to now give some value to this admin name, which is dummy one. So calling this stmt object and bind value function, and then in the first parameter we have to give this admin name here. In the second parameter we have to specify the actual admin that we got here. So I will put this admin, which has the default value of Jazib for now. So I can put it admin here. And then for the last one, let's copy all of this. So it will be for date and time inside single quote, and the variable that we have to grab is this date and time, this one on line 10. So that's it for binding values. Let's make the whole syntax style similar. You can see this one has lower t, so I will stick with capital T, and also we have to specify that T capital one here. The order of binding values does not matter. You can put the line 26 at the place of 28 or 27 at the place of 26. It does not going to matter as long as you are binding the actual value to its associated dummy value. So after doing that, we will execute our query. So I will have this variable of execute that will take this stmt object and call the PDO method of execute. After inserting our data, we will have one simple check whether we successfully added our data in our database or not. So I will have one if condition here that will check whether this execute is true or not. So if this execute is true, then it means that we successfully added our data. So we will pass one success message in our session of success message category added successfully, and then we will redirect our admin to some other page. For example, in the previous ones we were sending our admin to the categories.php, but you can send your admin to any page you want. You can send it to basic.html or dashboard.php, any page you like. Or you can send your admin to google.com.au. It's completely up to you. So I will send this success scenario to basic.html just for better demonstration. And if this execute means if you insert this whole data, then show me this success message. Otherwise we will have an else block in which we will have counter message that will say that, let's copy this counter message from here. So we will say that error message, something went wrong, try again. And we will redirect our user to categories.php. So now let's first save this and run our code. So this one belong to this else block, this one belong to this else block, and this if condition belong to this else. And we have this ending of our submit button at line 39. So first let's run this code. So must refresh your page to bring the new PHP that you just wrote. So I will add this category title to technology, clicking on this publish button. See, we are on basic.html page, which means we successfully added our data. But as you know, this is HTML page, not the PHP one, and we don't have any session file associated with this one. That's why you are not seeing the success message. So let me confirm via phpMyAdmin. So if I click on this browse tab, you can see we added our first category title here, technology, and also all the columns are completely fine. So let me make this one to go to this categories.php page. Now saving this one, let's refresh our page first. Back to categories.php. Now you can see that message. So I will go with new category of news, publish. You can see this message category added successfully. You can make this success message more evident by grabbing the ID of inserted item from your database by using one PDO function. So let's do that. So this message of success, I'm gonna concatenate this success message with one function of PDO. So category with ID. So we will concatenate it with one PDO function that will get the ID of item which we just entered in our database. So first of all, we have to grab our connection. So it will be connecting DB, and we have to call our method of last insert ID. This is a PDO method. So if I save this one and let's refresh our page. Now adding new category to fitness, publish. You can see we got this message, category with ID 3 added successfully. And here you can see we have this title of fitness which has the ID of 3. So with PDO you can do a lot more as compared to other MySQL and MariaDB layers. If you want to learn complete PDO, you can check out my course Learning PHP Data Objects PDO. And this method, this way of inserting data, this is just one method. In PDO you have many ways to write your queries. So if you want to learn all about PDO, must check out my course Learning PHP Data Objects PDO. And one more thing before ending this lecture, in case if you are using PHP 5.6, you have to declare this connecting DB variable globally in this file of categories.php. For example, you can see we have this variable connecting DB in db.php file, and we included this file and we simply worked with that variable of connecting DB directly here on line 25 and also on line 32. But if you are using PHP 5.6, you have to write one more line. You have to declare that variable global here in form of a separate code. So if I write this global connecting DB here as well, although I'm using PHP 7, it won't going to matter at all. Now let's add the category with this earlier syntax of PHP 5.6. So if I refresh this page and add categories such as sports, publish, category with ID 4 added successfully, and here you can see this fourth category. So that's it for writing code to insert your category in your table.